Murph tells me I sound good on our show.
I did hear the very end of your picks, but I honestly didn't remember what they were. I didn't. Yeah.
You need her to resend?
Yeah, I do.
Sam, can you resend the email, please, to Murph?
Please.
Please.
It's here, but it's not here. Hold on, watch. Wait a minute. What if I do all of them?
Sam was off on Thursday, so she might be off today, too. Yeah, she's rusty.
All right. There's something going on with my iPad email here.
For the line? Yeah, no. I'll just stop it right here. Yeah, they usually just go. No, because they did get probably. I don't have the line.
I'm going to have to do it.
So I'm just stop it right here.
Okay. We're also on college.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to feed you guys the audio. We got 15 seconds.
WD27 Greg Fox Sports Radio, Philadelphia, and iHeartRadio station, presented by Door Auto Insurance. Summer Sundays are meant for freshly cut grass, ballpark dogs, and the best baseball talk you can find. So kick back with your bacon and eggs and pour yourself a mimosa while Phillies announcer Greg Murphy and Green Legion Radio's Chris Sack break down your fighting bills and take you around the league right now on Baseball Brunch.
Wow. Good morning, Philadelphia. Welcome in to Bud Light Baseball Brunch, live on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler, out here in the Infinity Line, right in the Pantheon of the sports complex. You like that word?
I do.
Right across from Citizens Bank Park. This afternoon, we will have National League Baseball between your Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Mets. Tell you what, I was coming across the bridge this morning, and I could smell the stench coming along with us. Right here on 102.5 Fox Sports again. I'm ready to have some fun here this morning, talk some good baseball. Thank God they won that game last night, or I was going to be beside myself today, which is any different than any other Sunday morning. I have no idea. I'll let my co-host, Murph, speak for me on that behalf. I'm Chris Sack of Green Legion Radio and Phillies play-by-play announcer this week. Got a few games in there out in Cincinnati. Greg Murphy. What's up, Murph? How we doing this morning?
I'll tell you what, no one is happier than me that they won that game last night. I didn't know what was in store for me this morning if they had lost Game 3 of this 4-game series. It was a good win, and we kind of went into last night into the pregame show with this mentality of you got to figure something out, figure out a way to win a game. And they were able to do that last night. Tip your cap to Bailey Falter, what he was able
especially after the first inning.
Yeah, and I don't know if you heard his comments after the game last night, both to us on the post-game show and then in the clubhouse with the reporters. But he was really thoughtful in the way that he talked about that first inning. He said, I got to be honest, he said, you looked around, and it was a packed house, and he said, and all of a sudden, he started to feel it. He was feeling the nerves. He was feeling the butterflies, and you could see that. Absolutely.
Yes.
Totally agree with you. And he said, and Caleb came out, and JT came out to the mound, and they talked to him. They calmed him down a little bit. And then obviously Nick Castellanos makes that terrific catch out there in right field. And he said it was kind of like, I can relax. And he did. He went out and got the next 9 he faced and gave the Phillies exactly what they needed last night. So, Bailey Falter was able to do what we have not been able to do with Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler on the mound.
We're going to touch on that.
Yeah, and that is win a game against the Mets.
So look, the Mets are a good team.
They really are a good team, but the Phils needed that game, and they need today too. Let's be honest. Win today kind of changes the whole feel for the end of this Mets-Phillies season series, right? You get 2 in a row. You go into, hopefully, the postseason. If you see these guys, then you have this idea, okay, we've beaten them the last 2 times we faced them. We can beat them again.
Real quick. Now, Chance and I were talking about this off air before we jumped on air here today.
who would you rather play in the postseason, the Dodgers or the Mets? Based off of the season series that we've had against the Mets so far. If you had your
Wow,
jobs.
that's a great question.
I said the Dodgers.
I think I would say the Dodgers too, just because you've got that two-headed monster of Scherzer and DeGrom. I know the Dodgers have great pitching too, but it just feels differently, I guess. Maybe because we're so familiar with the Mets and what they're able to do. I would say Dodgers at this moment right now, if you ask me that question, which I don't know is the right answer or not, but yeah, I would say the Dodgers.
That's why you're a smart man.
Yeah.
That's why you're a smart man. And listen, Nick Castellanos gave some life insurance over to Bailey Falter yesterday, just like our good friends at State Farm do. Just as your local State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home and auto, and guess what you'll get? That's right, good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, State Farm agent David Russo is your go-to agent for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining home and auto today. State Farm agent David Russo will help you mix and match things perfectly. Call 856-740-5012 for your surprisingly great rates. That's 856-740-5012. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. All right, let's dive in. Let's give a couple tickets away here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give away 2 tickets to this upcoming Friday night's game between the Phillies and the Pirates. At 7:05, it's Margaritaville night at the ballpark. I know Murph is especially excited about that.
Absolutely.
Because he is an absolute parrot head, for sure. If I would have told Jansen ahead of time, he probably would have had Margaritaville playing while I was announcing this. But I digress.
I think it's on the baseball brunch wall, John.
Do we have? Yeah.
Do you have that in there? Specifically for Murph.
There you go. Hey, that's a good thing there. I like that.
Channel, Green Legion Facebook page, or our Twitter handle at Green Legion. You see what I put on there for the? I did.
I don't know if you're hearing that.
I'm getting a little bit of feedback around me.
Yeah, I saw what you put. I like the question. I thought it was a tough question. I just asked Glenn if you can help me figure out my fifth on the list because it's one of those things. You said action/fight scene. So to me, it can obviously be 2 very different things, right?
It could be, but you know what happens on our feed is not a lot of people can decipher between the 2. So we're better off just putting it all together.
All right. Well, then I've come up with 5 that we put together. So do you want me to give you
one of your 5?
Yeah, and to me this is an easy one, especially here in Philadelphia. But I think it belongs as one of the all-time great action fight scenes.
It better not be Rocky and Tommy Gunn in Rocky 5.
It's not Rocky, Tommy Gunn, and Rocky 5 because that was the worst of the Rocky movies.
Sue me for what?
But it is Rocky 1. I mean, the final fight scene in Rocky 1 is just a classic movie moment, right? You know, and I think here in Philadelphia we've kind of lived with that for decades and decades, and it's kind of our mantra. It's our fight song. So yeah, the fight scene, Apollo and Rocky 1 is on my list. Not number 1, but it's on my list.
The way I got this idea was the other day, and me and my buddies at work, we were talking about The Matrix. And so for me, listen, The Matrix 2 was okay. The storyline kind of got confusing over the last third of the movie. But that fight scene, the freeway scene, with the tractor trailers and the motorcycles and the police cars, there is nothing that is better than that half hour between where they started out.
Half hour?
Well, it starts out like an atrium where he wipes out with like all these weapons that are on the wall, and then they wind up like running out and they get into a car, and then Morpheus is like, you know, Trinity, whatever I tell you about going on the freeway, whatever I said, ignore it. And they went right on the freeway, and that it was incredible. It's just an amazing scene.
I am sad to say I've never seen The Matrix, any of them. I know there's more.
Okay, I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah, well, I judge you for not seeing The Godfather. That's not great shit. But that said, I'm not sure I would like The Matrix. I probably would.
The first one, you really
okay. All right, I'll check out the first Matrix because I hear about it all the time, and people seem to love it. So yeah, I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen it yet. So
you see that, I'll see The Godfather.
Okay.
Or Goodfellas. Which one?
Oh, Godfather.
Okay, sounds good. So that way I can still take off Diaz with Goodfellas.
Yeah, there you go.
In the meantime,
you should see that.
Let's get out of the box now. Not the best week for the Phillies. They're probably one of the worst that they've had in a long time, maybe since in the Rob Thompson era, as far as record-wise. 3-4 since our last show last week. Not terrible, not too bad. 11 games back now, the Mets in the National League East. They're now 8 behind the Braves for second place in the National League East. And then if you look at the wild card standings, though, they're still a half game up on the Padres. And they've added a game between themselves and the Brewers. So the Brewers are now 2.5 back. And in the meantime, the Giants and Gabe Kapler, they've lost 4 in a row.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is it's not just the standing that seemed to be hitting the Phillies a little bit hard in the National League East this week. It seems that the injury bug has finally started to catch up with the rest of the roster. Yes, on the horizon is the return of Bryce Harper, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the one that's concerning to myself and probably to a lot of our listeners is what happened last night after the game. David Robertson threw 2 innings of work. You were expecting to see Sir Anthony Dominguez in the ninth. Turns out that he has some soreness in his right triceps, and he's due for an MRI today. What's the level of concern in the Phillies clubhouse about this?
Well, I mean, obviously there's concern until they know exactly what they're dealing with. We had a chance to talk to Sir Anthony last night, and he was asked that direct question. How worried are you based on your track record and in your injury history and what you've had to deal with over the last couple of years? And he said, yeah, I'm worried. I mean, it's my arm. It's how I compete. It's how I make a living. And it's not feeling 100% right now. So he's concerned, but concerned to the point of I need to find out if it's just a little tightness and soreness and I need to rest a little bit, or perhaps there's something a little bit more to it, maybe some structural damage. Let's hope not. For obvious reasons, let's hope not. I certainly hope not for Sir Anthony's sake. He's such a competitor, such a big part of what this team is doing in the clubhouse. He's a big part of the clubhouse and what this team is doing. So there's a level of concern. He'll get checked out at some point. Perhaps today he gets an MRI. Maybe it's tomorrow. But until we know what that MRI says, you don't want to speculate because it could very well just be a little soreness. But they're certainly not going to take any chances with a guy like Sir Anthony Dominguez. So we'll wait and see. I would imagine he's not available today. I mean, there's nothing official saying that he is not available, but I wouldn't think we would see him today. Hopefully they don't need Sir Anthony Dominguez today. Maybe they have a nice cushion in the late innings and can go with some other guys. So, Corey Knebel's obviously still hurting a little bit. So that back end that was so solid, there's a couple of your weapons right there that aren't able to be deployed. So makes it a little bit more difficult for Rob Thompson and Caleb Coffin to navigate the back end of that bullpen. But they still have, I was thinking about it last night. They still have David Robertson. They still have Connor Brogdon. They still have Brad Hand. They still have Jose Alvarado.
Oh,
you don't feel as exposed in the back end because you do have that depth. But again, one of the reasons this team has been playing so well of late is because of that bullpen. So anyone you lose is a tough loss.
Was there a question asked to Sir Anthony? Was he experiencing the soreness on Wednesday in his outing in Cincinnati in the ninth inning, or has this been something that has been creeping up on him over the last couple of days?
He said that it just started yesterday morning when he was having a catch. That it was he just felt a little tightness. He might have said he felt a little tightness after he threw in Cincinnati, but nothing of major concern. He did not bring it up to the training staff until yesterday morning, after he played catch, which they do every day. And he said, at that point he felt like it was tight, maybe a little bit of swelling in there, so that's when he went to the training staff.
Okay, so he would have been available on Friday night if they had needed him in that game.
In theory, yes.
Okay. Now David Robertson going two big innings for them last night. I would assume he's probably unavailable today. And like you said, Corey Knebel was a right lat strain. Is there a timetable on how long that could potentially have him out for? Is it going to be just for 10 days? Could we see him out for any a longer period of time? Is this maybe 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah,
they haven't said anything on that yet?
They really haven't. I'm sure he's going through his own bit of testing as well. This idea, it's an injury that he has dealt with before in the past, and those kinds of things can linger, especially it's throwing side, and it's the kind of thing for a pitcher that's an important part of your body in terms of the mechanics of pitching. So I would imagine, it's probably going to stretch on a little bit longer than the 10 days. If I had to bet, again, I'm speculating. I have no inside information on that other than what we've been told publicly. So, but when you just stop to think about it, this is a guy that has had injuries over the last couple of years, so they're going to take it slowly. And so I would think that if we see Corey Knebel again, it's going to be probably a little bit into September at that point.
Kyle Schwarber with the mild right calf strain. Didn't look like it was bothering him. And kind of had a little hitch in the giddy up as he was rounding second base. I just didn't know if that was potentially because of that, or it's just the fact that it's Kyle Schwarber legging out a triple. But that was fun to watch yesterday. Do we have any idea when we can expect to see him back in left field? Because I think a lot of what's been going on with the offensive struggles, being shut out over the last 4 times over the last week and a half, has to do with the fact that he hasn't been in the lineup, or his bat hasn't been in the lineup to where he's in left field. I think your better lineup right now, until obviously Bryce returns, is having Derek Hall as your DH in the lineup and having him out in left field, and it really hasn't provided that much length in the lineup for them. Do we have any idea when we can expect to see him back in left field and not DHing? Is it going to take place today, or do we expect it sometime during the Red Series?
I don't think it's going to happen today. I do think perhaps over the course of the next week, they try it out. Last night, Rob Thompson, after the game, was asked about the base running of Kyle Schwarber. And to your point, he scored from first on a double yesterday. He legged out a triple, and he also hit a double. So he was really testing that leg yesterday when they pulled him out for a pinch runner late in the game last night. I think it was the 9th inning. And, but that was simply just to get him off his feet. Rob Thompson was asked after the game last night, do you think Kyle can play the outfield? And he said, we're not ready to go there quite yet. And follow-up question was, what's the difference between him running the bases like he did tonight and playing the outfield? And Rob said it's pretty simple. When you're in the outfield, you're on your feet the entire game. You're stopping and starting a lot more. And then you add in the addition to running the bases. He said, we're just not ready to put him into that situation quite yet. So they're going to put him through some tests, again, just to make sure that thing is as close to 100% as it can be. And then when they feel like it is, they'll put him out there. Because I agree with you. Him in left field allows you to do a little bit more with that lineup. It lengthens it a little bit by putting a couple of different guys in DH spot. So they have their eyes on that, but they're just not willing to take the chance of losing Kyle again for any period of time. So they have to err on the side of caution. You have the Reds and the Pirates coming in. Mike would think that,
you can handle it.
You can handle it. And I know that's probably not the best way to go about thinking about it, but when you're trying to manage health at this point of the season, sometimes you have to think about it like that. So just having him back in the lineup, you see the difference that he makes. I mean, he has been the one real bright spot in this Mets series offensively. So hopefully we get him back out in the outfield soon, but they're just not ready to pull the trigger on that yet.
Brandon Marsh, scary incident with him the other day out in Cincinnati. Luckily, he came out of that, but the MRI was a bone bruise and a sprained ankle. They put him on the 10-day IL. They brought in Bradley Zimmer, outfielder. They cleaned off the waivers from the Blue Jays. Long-term diagnosis here, is it something, again, kind of like with Knable? Are we looking at maybe through 10 days? I mean, I've had sprained ankles my whole entire life since senior year of high school, so I know what dealing with a sprained ankle is like. You're better off breaking it instead of spraining it.
Sometimes that's true.
Yeah, you're more susceptible to keep on spraining it. Is this something that we can expect him back after the 10 days, or are we looking at a couple weeks out? Have they given anything on that front?
Yeah, not a whole lot again, but again, me speculating. I just watching him walk around the clubhouse yesterday, talking to him briefly. My bet is that this is more closer to a 10-day kind of thing than it will be a long-term kind of thing. You're right. A sprained ankle can linger and can be a nagging kind of thing, and especially for a guy whose game is all about his legs, to be quite honest. So again, we'll be cautious with him, but I think he avoided the real serious side of the injury. When he came down, it looked pretty bad at first glimpse. So I think we'll see him back sooner rather than later. I can't put a timetable on it, but I wouldn't imagine it's going to go deep into September.
And the good news on the injury front, though, is we're looking at, finally, Bryce Harper is going to start a rehab stint in Lehigh Valley on Tuesday.
We believe. I mean, that's not officially announced yet, but it certainly seems to be trending that way. I think he's going to hit on the field again tomorrow. That's the plan. It was with the concert on Friday. There was a lot of things happening this weekend. The doubleheader yesterday that didn't allow him to get back out on the field for one more live BP session.
So we got beat out on Friday night after the game because of Vanilla Ice and Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, DJ. Well, yeah. I don't know if you saw it. They were fantastic. So it's
I know they saw it. I saw the videos. I was like, oh, okay. So we had to put Bryce on Ice Ice Baby.
well, Bryce did hit on Friday.
I saw the video.
He wasn't going to hit Friday night.
He's hitting bombs.
Yeah, he was. He looked good. So he's going to hit one more time, and it sounds like Monday, which would make a lot of sense. And then if all feels good, then it would make sense that on Tuesday he would head out to a rehab assignment. And then it just remains, how long does Bryce feel like he needs to get his timing down to a point where he can come back into this lineup and make a difference. And whether that's 3 games down in the minor leagues, if it's 5 games down in the minor leagues. Again, I've always kind of been looking at September 1st as that day, and I think they're pretty much on target for that, if not even a little bit sooner. Maybe the beginning of the next road trip. Bryce Harper is back.
Well, they're off on September 1st, so he can't come back on September 1st in between Arizona and San Francisco. It's like,
solid point.
You would have to think he has to be on the flight out to Arizona on Sunday afternoon. I mean, I'm not.
Here's what I'll say. I will save Bryce's
I was already wrong on my speculation from before, so why not?
I'm going to make sure I save Bryce's seat on the plane. And if he's available to join the flight, then we'll have a spot for him. I can promise you that. I think that is probably the most likely scenario. But again, if Bryce goes down to the Lehigh Valley or Reading or wherever he ends up doing his rehab assignment and has 8 at-bats in 2 games and says, I feel great, I feel locked in, come on back, big fella. We'll welcome you with open arms. So we just have to wait and see how long it takes him to feel that way.
Can't wait. Let's carry on the rest of the conversation in the next segment first, okay? Premier Window Cleaning is the leading window cleaning company in Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. Over 30 years experience, they offer commercial and residential window cleaning, pressure washing, parking garage cleaning, graffiti removal, post-construction cleaning. Every employee is trained, certified, and goes through an extensive background check. At Premier Window Cleaning, your satisfaction level needs to be 100%, as no job is complete until you're happy. With clients like Lincoln Financial Field, Comcast, Chop Roberts, and University of Pennsylvania, you cannot go wrong. For more information and a full list of services, give them a call, 267-534-5198. That's 267-534-5198. Or head to their website, WeHateDirtyWindows.com. That's WeHateDirtyWindows.com. Coming up on our next segment, we're going to play a level of concern around the league because there's a bunch of players and teams that need to have some level of concern heading into September. And also, I need to know from Murph, have you ever gone down Bernie the Brewer slide? Right here on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. We'll be right back right after this.
So, who was the Dodgers guy?
David Vesey.
So, I don't know the story. So, is he a reporter?
Yeah, he's doing for the Dodgers what you did for the Phillies.
And the guy out there?
Yes. They used to have the girl. Was it Orlando Rizzo?
3 or 4
Yeah.
females.
He's now doing that.
Okay. And he got hurt?
Oh, yeah.
He went down the slide and he got hurt. That's okay. I'll tell you my story later.
I've got the deets for you.
Okay. I didn't even hear about it. When did that happen?
It happened, Tuesday? Tuesday or Wednesday this week?
Okay.
Murph, I just had to boot you off StreamYard.
Can't start.
Oh.
What's that?
I just had to boot you off StreamYard because
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. I tried to log back on. It did the same thing. So.
Yeah, I don't know why it was. I'm like,
Yeah, that's
I'm just
fantastic.
worried about the broadcast.
Yes. Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll come back and I'll start talking about that. Yeah, we already kind of played Marguerite.
Hey, Chris.
Buffett has about 700 other songs in his repertoire.
He does. I want to bring us back to something that's gonna hype it up.
Fins to the left, fins to the right.
Maybe a little Everlong from the Foo Fighters. Listen, there's nothing better than David Vesey from the Dodgers going down Bernie the Brewer's slide, saying "Holy crap" the whole way to Everlong.
Is he Peter Vesey's son?
Dude, if you see this guy, there's only one way he has a job, and it's family related.
I bet you he's Peter Vesey's son.
You got to watch the video on Twitter too. I'll tag you in it so you can actually watch it.
So, he broke his wrist.
I didn't hear any of it.
Oh yeah, he's got a few fractures in his wrist and in his hand, and then he fractured like 6 ribs. No, it wasn't on the air. He did it before the game. It was like during the day before the game. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's just mean. If that were me, I would have posted the video. It's every reporter's worst nightmare. Honestly, it was my worst nightmare. Thinking that I was going to do something, live on the air,
and it goes viral.
And either you end up making a fool out of yourself, or you end up getting hurt. And that, to me, that's. I feel bad for the guy that did it. No, I couldn't care less about that. That's not me. That's them.
Don't make me look bad.
Jonathan Papelbon.
Yeah, he looked like an idiot, not me.
No, the greatest moment of all time is when they went to game when the Flyers were going to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2010. And Barkhan's like, Coatsy, talk to that girl right behind you. Talk to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam wants to know.
What question?
For the tickets.
Like so far, Rocky won.
He's been talking for 3 days about going down the slide here in Milwaukee. I've never heard somebody so excited about doing anything. David did do it today.
Welcome back!
Wow!
As we come crashing in here at Xfinity Live on Bud Light Baseball Brunch with David Vesey from the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I gotta be honest, that's the first I've heard that, and I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if I want to see it yet. I feel bad for him, honestly.
You know what my man needs? He needs some La Costa lemonade from the
that'll make
Bar and Grill. That'll make it feel better. Yes. The next time David Vesey comes out, we'll take him down to 4000 Landis Avenue in Seattle City. Yes, it's all La Costa, and La Costa lemonade is delicious. The hotel is open year-round, and all guests enjoy free Wi-Fi, 1 free parking spot per room, and complimentary beach tags and all registered adults. Only a few weeks left in summer, people. Make sure you get down there and check them out at ludlamhotel.com. That's Ludlam, Ludlam, hotel.com, or call them at 609-263-7829. That's 609-263-7829 for all your reservation, dining, or entertainment questions. The Ludlam Bar and Grill, your new oasis in Seattle City. All right, so first things first. So we heard the audio, and I asked you kind of this during the break. Do you know Los Angeles Dodgers reporter David Vesey?
I do not. I've not met David before, so no.
All right, so
your question.
So for those of you that know, Murph, are you watching it right now?
I just watched it.
So Murph used to have the same role with the Phillies. From 2012 through 2020, Murph had the privilege of doing that job. Everybody's dream job of doing that. And you were all around the ballpark. Is that something that you did? Did you ever go down Barry the River slide it? I still call it Miller Park. Did you ever do that during your time frame of doing that job?
The quick answer is no. And it's funny because I did almost every other.
You probably sacrificed like Ben Davis or
No. So, but there is a story behind it. So I did almost every other ballpark experience thing that you could do. I did the kayak out in San Francisco, inside the Green Monster, you name it, inside the Wrigley Center Field scoreboard, all the kind of cool stuff that I was privileged and lucky enough to do. We did, and we talked about doing the slide each and every year that we went to Milwaukee, but we also talked about me being in the sausage race each and every year that we went to Milwaukee.
Just watch out for Randall Simon.
Exactly right. You never know what's going to happen. But so, and for whatever reason, it never panned out that we did either of those things. Part of the reason we did not do the slide is because it has been done before in Philadelphia, and it was our own Larry Anderson.
I think I remember that.
Slide.
Yeah.
And he had a similar experience to David.
Wow.
It's a wild ride apparently, and it goes a lot faster than you think. obviously, you look
Did he
at
go
the
down
video.
with a potato sack like David Vesey did?
I do not think he did. I think he just went down.
There's two versions of a potato sack here. He went down on one, and then he became one when he hit the wall.
Yeah, he did. And, I feel like I said, the worst thing, I did a lot of fun stuff, but also a lot of stuff that's kind of right on the edge. You're like, am I going to survive this? I was out in a kayak out there on whatever body of water.
Did you ever kayak before you went in McCovey?
I had kayak before, but you're out there. The guy launched me from the kayak, and he goes, paddle that way for about 15 minutes, and then make a right. And he goes, if you go past the wall, you went too far. I'm like, oh, Lord. So, and I paddled for like a half an hour before I got into McCovey Cove. And at one point, I'm like, what am I doing out here in the middle of nowhere, water up?
Were you saying, holy crap, holy crap,
Pretty
holy crap, the whole
much.
way?
So you think, this is going to be how I go, and people are going to be like, how about that idiot who died in the kayak,
That wasn't in the job description?
I kind of made the job description up as I went along, so I feel for him, because there was a part of me that wanted to do the slide, and there's a part of me that thinks maybe someday I still will, but that was my fear, is that, am I going to get hurt? Because LA, when he did it, he's like, never again will I do that, because he said it was crazy. So I feel for him. David broke his wrist. Is that the?
Yeah. So 2 fractures in his right hand / wrist and 6 fractured ribs.
Oh man. See,
So now that you hear that, would you do it?
Yeah, I think I would, but I would. But here's the
Can we
thing.
put some padding on that wall?
It looked like there was padding on that wall.
Not enough.
Yeah, apparently not. But I think what I would do is I would wear sneakers and I would cheat and kind of stop myself halfway down, kind of thing. Because I think if he looked like Chevy Chase on the little silver disc going down.
Did you watch the video clip all the way through? When they sent it down to him and he raises his arm up with the cast?
No, I didn't
And
see that part.
he's like, hey guys!
Well, you know what? At least he's being a good sport about it. It's the 6 broken ribs that is going to give him.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh.
When he hit the wall, he's like tucking and he's turning, and he's kind of like grabbed at his wrist, but then you can kind of see him like grabbing at his ribs.
I can't believe it. And then, hey, tip your cap to Bernie who goes down it a couple times a week.
He's got some cushion in there.
Well, still, what happened to LA was he almost went off the side. Yeah, and that thing's up there. I mean, if you've never been to Miller Park, that's at the top of the
Oh,
floor.
it's high. Yeah, it's high.
Yeah, so, it was one of my fears. So, I've done a lot of things on television over the years.
I'll tell you what. You can make this happen. All right, you got all the strings and all the pull. Now I say wherever the Phillies are in that first round, I will be, except for San Diego. But the likelihood of that happening is not going to happen. Atlanta, I do not want to go to. I do not want to go to Citi Field. But Atlanta, St. Louis, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Let's go out there. Let's do a baseball brunch broadcast from Miller Park. And if we can get ourselves on that slide, I'll do it with you.
Yeah, well, I will tell you this. Getting on that slide is reserved for, I know it's a difficult thing, and I think that was part of the reason we ended up never having to do it. You have to go through all kinds of
You don't need me to do it then.
no,
I'll just watch.
I don't know that they would let me do it at this point. But
Especially in the postseason.
yeah, exactly. But we'll keep it in mind for years to come, and if we can ever make it happen. I think I would still do it because it's one of those life experiences that you'd be like, yeah, I did that, and I'm all about that, but I would take pause a little bit before I started, and I might wear rubber pants.
And speaking of life experiences too, your son, you brought him to Tennessee this week. Your youngest son, you're now officially an empty nester.
I am.
All your kids are gone. How was that feel? I know you said that you probably unloaded so many tears the other day, but congratulations to the family with him going down to the University of Tennessee.
Yeah, go Vols, and I talked to him yesterday, and the first 2 days there, he's loving life.
That freshman 15 is for real.
yeah, he's very conscious of that. He's in pretty good shape right now. I said, hey, you better keep that in mind. And he's like, yeah, all right, I'm Chick-fil-A, I gotta go. It's awesome. Anyone that's ever dropped a kid off of college knows it's a very bittersweet moment. He was my third, and it was a great day, and we're just excited for him. Just excited to get that next chapter in his life started. So, and I'm excited to go down and watch some Tennessee SEC football because that's fun for dads.
And I'm excited too because couldn't be any more convenient with your work schedule for you to take him down there. Was that like the appropriate time? You guys went on Thursday and Philly just so happened to have an off day?
Off day, and I was in Cincinnati, so it's a 3-hour drive to Knoxville. I was able to jump in a rental car, get down there, meet him and his mom, and we moved them in on Thursday, and we drove back on Thursday night. So it all worked out perfectly. Back in time for the Mets game on Friday. But I'd have missed a game if I had to, obviously, to drop off Carolina College, but it worked out great. So,
well, I know you have levels of concern with him now being away from you and being a few states away out in Tennessee. Around the league, there's some levels of concern too, Murph. So let's dive into some around the league levels of concern here, and let's gauge it between the two of us. Where do we think the levels of concern need to be? Start off first. New York Yankees, losers of 3 in a row, 2-8 in their last 10. They're 4-14 in the month of August, which is one of the worst, if not the worst records. I don't know if right now the Nationals are the worst record in August, but especially yesterday after their game, they were the worst record in August in all baseball. Their AL East lead is now down to 7 over the Blue Jays, 8 over the Rays. They're allowing these teams back in. What's your level of concern when it comes to the New York Yankees?
it's amazing how poorly they're playing right now. My level of concern, if I were a Yankee fan, my level of concern would, well, if I were the Yankee fan, my level of concern would probably be pretty high. If I were covering the Yankees and watching them from afar as I do, my level of concern is almost at a zero. I think they're going to be just fine. The baseball season is a long season, 162. You're going to have stretches where you play poorly. Even the best teams, you know, are going to play poorly. And they are. I mean, it's kind of remarkable that this lineup has kind of all gone downhill at the same time. But it can just as easily all go straight back uphill at the same time, and they can rattle off 10 in a row. So my level of concern for the New York Yankees as an observer is almost zero. I think they will be fine. I think they win the AL East. I think they are very much in the mix for the pennant, and certainly could win a World Series with this team. So they're going through a rough patch, and it's probably not easy up there right now in the Brunch. But if I'm a Yankee fan and I can take a step back and put it in perspective, I'm not right.
Yeah, you would have thought they would have had some season-altering moments here real last week. I mean, IKF hitting his first home run in Boston last Saturday, which led them to winning that game, and then they go back in the toilet. Yeah. And then Josh Donaldson walk-off grand slam the other night, and they've gone back into the toilet over the last few days. Their starting pitching is pretty suspect. I mean, Montez hasn't pitched well since he's been there. They traded away Jordan Montgomery, who turned right around a week later and made them look dumb for it when he was pitching for the Cardinals against them. For me, I look at it as like, yeah, all the bats are falling apart, but the pitching isn't as good as I thought it was going to wind up being in the first half. Because I didn't pick them to go to the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. There's no question about that. Yeah. It's just a matter of what they do when they get there. And right now, with them going into this funk, they're falling behind the Houston Astros. And if you're going to beat the Houston Astros, who's been your Achilles heel over the last 5 years, you were looking to have home field advantage in that series. They don't have it right now. They're about 3 or 4 games behind the Astros. Luckily for them, the Astros are playing the Braves this week.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Who's better than the Yankees in the American League?
Astros.
Okay, so if you play the Astros in the AL Championship Series and you're at home, who's the favorite?
If you're the Yankees,
you're at home. Yeah,
Astros the favorite in the series.
Okay, so Astros are favored.
I think they're favored either way.
So there's only one team in your mind that is better than the New York Yankees win and get to the World Series.
If I'm talking from a depth standpoint right now, it would be the Astros.
So, and that's why my level of concern is just about zero.
So just get into the American League Championship Series.
They're still one of the 2 best teams in the American League, even as poorly as they're playing right now, and they could easily turn it around and turn it on.
I'm not saying that they won't.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm just that. So that's when you ask me level of concern. If you look at it that way, that's why I say it.
You know who needs to really be concerned, though, is Josh Hayden.
Yes.
Entered July 13th with a 1.82 ERA. He's had an 18.78 ERA and 11 appearances since then. They made a huge trade to get him, which at the time was the biggest trade before the trade deadline, before they traded for Juan Soto.
Right.
Now, according to Matt Rappin, Hader before Bowman Veerling hit their home runs off of him in the 9th inning in Milwaukee on June 7th. 17 2/3 with 0 earned runs and a 0 ERA. During and after, 19 2/3 innings pitched, 19 earned runs, 8.69 ERA. If you look at it, Matt Veerling and Alec Bohm broke Josh Hader. Level of concern with him.
Level of concern with him, scale 1 to 10, 7.5, 8. Yeah, I think when you look at what has happened to him, and you have to scratch your head. I don't know what's happened to him. Unless he's hurt and he's not telling anybody, it's hard to figure out how a guy who is so incredibly dominant has turned into what he's turned into.
Breaking news, Sir Anthony's to the IL.
Yeah, I figured as much. Okay, well, so there you know that we're going to have to mix and match back into the bullpen. Yeah. Who reported that?
Well, I'm guessing Jansen. Text that team.
Jansen. Yeah, John Jansen.
He's breaking it on public baseball.
Yeah. All right, there you go. Jim Salisbury? Yeah, okay, let's give credit to Jim for
no doubt about it. Friend of the program, by the way.
Absolutely. And the injury list, that's not good news for the Phillies. But getting back to Josh Hader, yeah, I think there should be a serious level of concern. And I agree with you, the Phillies broken. So that's, well, you know, and I certainly hope it's not an injury issue. I mean, if he's just kind of struggling with his command in last baseball, and we'll take that. You don't want anyone to be hurt and struggle in that regard. But it was such an interesting trade, and I could not for the life of me figure out why the Brewers would do it. Maybe they knew. Maybe they saw something that they said, look, this guy's not the same Josh Hader as we've had over the past couple of years, and this might be the time to get something back for him and let him loose. You know, if they knew he was hurt, that'd be one thing, but if they just thought he lost his confidence, lost his command, and they wanted to move him at that time, maybe it was pretty sad.
Padres gave up a lot in both of those deals, the Hader deal and the Soto deal. And in turn, a lot of their depth and their bullpen pieces, they went all in on those three pieces.
Yeah. And ex Fernando, you know?
Yeah. But Bob Melvin said before yesterday's game that they're going to taper him out of the ninth inning for right now and allow him to work on some things. We've seen how that's worked out with other closers. Doesn't necessarily always work out.
But sometimes it does.
The Yankees did that with Chapman. Yeah. It hasn't worked out in that context.
No, but Alvarado went down, worked on a couple things, and he's been
fantastic.
Lights out. So it can work. You know.
Last night was great because Beatty was up, and he's batting, and the announcers were like, he's never seen speed from this side before. Like, being up here, he's never seen a guy like Alvarado. First one, 95. Second one, 101. Then he throws a ball, and then he hits 102 on the gun. Yeah. And it's just like
102 with a sinker.
Oh, man.
Right? I mean, normally your four seam is going to be a little bit faster than your sinker, and the sinker has the movement. 102 at your knees? Are you kidding?
Am I wrong for thinking this? Beatty kind of looks like Rusty from National Lampoon's Vacation.
He absolutely does.
Right?
Yes. Same age, too. He is a young-looking, they really like him. He looks like he's going to be a player. But, I think that's a great call. Right?
And just a quick one, because this one's fun for me. I've always, from afar, admired the Orioles. I know they've been on fallen times over the last 20 years, for a large portion of the last 20 years. But I'll tell you what, man, this team is a lot of fun. Especially, I know we made fun of it with Adley Rutschman when he got caught up and let's do it the day of the Preakness down there so we don't get a lot of fans out. Since he was promoted on May 21st, the team with the lowest payroll in baseball is 46-24. After starting 16-24, they're 2.5 games out of the wild card. Should the AL wild card contenders, knowing that the upstart Orioles are lurking, should they be concerned?
Well, yeah, I guess they should be concerned. It's funny. I was talking to somebody else not too long ago. I forget who it was, and I said I just can't buy in on the Orioles quite yet. And this was about a week ago. And they just continued to play really good baseball. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should be buying in on the Orioles because sometimes a team just gets in their head like, hey, you know what? Well, heck with everybody else. We're pretty good.
It's like Major League.
In a lot of ways.
It's a real-life Major League.
Yeah, well, and there's franchises parallel each other a little bit.
That's 2 in a row. It's called a winning streak.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We got a couple all-stars on this run. It is. You're right. It's been a great story in baseball. At this point, I'm rooting for them. I guess if I'm an AL wildcard contender, I am concerned about those Baltimore Orioles lurking in my rearview mirror at this point because they don't seem to want to go away.
You know who's not concerned? The Green Legion heading into this upcoming season, because we've got everything covered as we're doing trips to Chicago, Arizona, Indianapolis, Houston, down to DC on the bus trip. We're going to have a blast this season. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys do it right and do it with us. 20 years in the business. Nobody does it better. Make sure you go to the website, greenlegion.com, or call the office at 215-666-5940 today. Murph and I both hit the sports book pretty hard last week, but one of us did it just a little bit better than the other. Who was that? We'll find out on the other side. Hey, here, 102.5 Fox Sports Together. Bud Light Baseball Brunch. We'll be right back right after this.
I have a feeling I know exactly who. That's who the Phils were up?
Yeah, C.Y.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was with us in spring training. Don't ask me anything about him.
That's my leading question.
Yeah. Everything I know as much about him as the Mets started.
Budo. Budo. Largely in a lot of ways, I feel like it's hotter in here. I feel like I'm sweating more here inside than we did last year sitting outside.
I'm very comfortable. Yeah. There's the last year, 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
And I'm feeling the mild-mannered breaststroke.
Really?
Just a little bit.
I'm like not even remotely. Like I feel very comfortable.
I mean, you could have some fun with it too. Yeah, fight scene or an action scene in a movie.
Yeah, I got one of those. Yeah, that's my obvious number one.
You're okay.
I thought about it.
He's seen. You can do that. I mean, Jansen's seen it by himself in the theaters 4 times. He sat there by himself. There was nobody in the theater the other night. It was just Jansen. Actually.
No, I'm on board with that.
It does seem like it's terrible.
The last time I saw a Tom Cruise movie in the theater was War of the Worlds.
I got it.
It was terrible. It was awful.
You see, now I disagree with that. He's a good actor in certain roles.
Agree.
Yeah,
No.
he's good. He's good as Mario.
Jack Reacher. Jack Reacher is so good. Are you a Jack Reacher fan? Do you like Jack Reacher?
I read all the books.
You did? Jack, I didn't see the second, but the first one's
Maybe I saw one.
the one down by the ballpark, down by PNC, Pittsburgh, where the guy,
Like I said,
the sniper.
The books, there's like 6 books, and the movies kind of like use 2 of the books at a time, and so it's like I get confused as to what I read when I saw.
Oh, he's just badass. And the one fight scene
So he's
outside the
good at
bar.
that?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of badass in Top Gun.
I can't stand it.
This is coming from a guy who wears tube socks. Might as well just play this for the rest of the show.
I heard this the other night.
This shit live. Welcome back Final segment here on this beautiful Sunday in the Delaware Valley. We'll be taking in the Phillies Mets this afternoon at 1:35. Kyle Gibson on the mound versus Jose Butto. It's not Butto, it's Butto.
That's right.
We were kind of going over how to pronounce his name, and luckily we were told that it was Butto. So I feel honored and privileged to know that.
Yeah, making his major league debut. So, the Phils have had mixed results against guys that they have never seen before. Hopefully they can. I looked at his numbers from the minor leagues. Really kind of pedestrian. 6-6, I think, in his 12 starts between AA and AAA this year. He's only had 2 starts in AAA this year, and he's pitched a 4.6 ERA.
So you're telling me to expect a 1-hitter through 6 1/3?
Well, no. I tell you to expect a high-scoring game, but that probably means.
So you got the voice of God who's out there. Yes, no doubt. All right, let's give away these tickets to get away. Friday night's game between the Phillies and the Pirates. And number 5 is going to be Margaret night over at the ballpark. And what we said was the best fight action scene in the movie. So here are the contenders. I'll give you your top 5 first, and then we'll do your.
All right, so my top 5 real quick. I already gave you Rocky. Rocky fight scene. One of my favorite scenes of all time, I don't know if you can classify it as a fight scene, but Raiders of the Lost Ark, the original, when Harrison Ford is being attacked in this town, and there's the samurai, he's got the big sword, he's whipping it around,
he pulls his gun out,
he just pulls out his gun, shoots him. I mean, it's classic, right? So I put that on the list. Braveheart, the final fight scene in Braveheart. An absolutely epic movie accomplishment, and Mel Gibson amazing in that. So put Braveheart on the list. A few good men, all right. And it's not an action fight scene, but the fight between when Jack Nicholson's on the stand and Tom Cruise is in the courtroom, back and forth. I'm counting that as a fight scene because the knockout punch.
Global sparring.
Yeah, absolutely. And that scene I can watch it 1,000 times, and I get goosebumps every time. So I put that on the list. But number 1 for me, and it's a disturbing scene to watch, but it's also a moving scene and an amazing scene. Saving Private Ryan, the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan, D-Day, and you see the horror,
just earth-shattering.
Yeah, the horrors of war. And the bravery of, that's a true story. That happened, and they were able to capture it, pretty accurately. So that's a number 1 for this.
Okay, all right, let's see what we have here on the docket. We have Captain America and the Winter Soldier, the elevator scene. I know you didn't see that one. Yep, you did. Kill Bill, Bride versus Crazy 88. Karate Kid, Crane Kid. Okay, all right, Karate Kid, there you go. Thelma and Louise, Drive Off the Cliff.
Yeah, well, in the action, that's for sure.
Santino in The Booth in The Godfather.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, the bathroom wall in Mission Impossible. Speaking of Tom Cruise, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Flip Booth versus the Mansion Murderers.
Wow, got a movie guy, and I'm getting straight out. Let's go ahead.
Okay, and the Italian Job, Mini Cooper's driving scene.
Yeah, the Mini Cooper driving scene in the Italian Job is a good one as well. God, honestly,
I'm gonna lean on you here.
I'm gonna have to go with
You've lost a tiebreaker the last couple.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with The Godfather.
Okay. All right, Santino in The Booth in The Godfather. Congratulations, whoever was the one that's it. As soon as we get a name, we'll go ahead and we'll get you across air for sure. But we got our picks to get to first. And last week, Murph went 2-1.
Yeah.
2 points. Now he is up to his season mark. Okay, to 21-27 with 26 points. I'm thinking next season, if any of us take the Phillies, you get negative points in return.
Okay.
Because you jinxed them last week, you should have got -2 and no points.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Believe me, it hurt. I didn't enjoy watching that.
We'll talk about it at the end of the next season. I won't do that to you now because you're desperate. 21-27.
Oh, I'm not desperate yet. I got 5 weeks to go.
Sack went 3-0 with 4 points last week. Not one to brag, but 27-21 now with 36 points. I got a 10-point advantage here headed down in the home stretch.
Okay, so I'll half of that today and half of next week. There we go.
You can only get 4 points. Unless you're going all.
I was told to give me the math.
And I would need to go over. I would have to go really cold here. So give me your first pick.
All right, I'm going
You called me Chris, man.
I know, I never
Feels weird. It's like he called you Greg.
Yeah, that's weird. That's odd. All right, Astros and Braves. So obviously a really good baseball game today. Braves have been playing outstanding over the last couple of weeks, and you said it. Astros probably the best team in the American League right now. The Braves have taken the last two from them. So they play again today. Astros are your underdogs. It's Urquidy and Charlie Morton, who I think is kind of hit and miss with Atlanta for the most part. The Astros are plus 122. Astros can win any game they suit up for, so I'll take them as my underdogs at plus 22 to beat the Braves today.
Surprising to get them at dog money. So when you get them, you might as well play them, especially losing the first two in the series. I'll go with my underdog first. Diamondbacks plus 110. They're at home versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals have won 6 in a row. The Diamondbacks obviously have lost the first 2 in the series. Merrill Kelly is on the mound today, having a really good season in Arizona, and it's in Arizona. The game is there. I think this line looks too small if you're betting the Cardinals. I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to go plus 110 with the Diamondbacks to win that game. Give me your second.
All right, Red Sox and Orioles. Surprisingly, it's a pick-em. Right, so I don't know if I get I'm picking against my favorite, I guess, in our little contest. But they're straight up picking today. So Pivetta versus Kramer, and it's the Little League World Series game. It's the one out in Williamsport. So there's a lot going on there. National television. It feels like a game that Nick Pivetta kind of comes in and then lives out of, in my opinion. He's been Nick Pivetta all year, 9-9. ERA kind of thing. So I'm going to take Baltimore. And I said earlier today, I hadn't bought in on Baltimore yet. I'm buying in on Baltimore to beat the Red Sox tonight in that nationally televised game. And that will be my number 2 pick.
All right, my favorite is going to be the Rays, minus 180 to win the series against the Royals. One Thursday, lost Friday, one last night. They're going to win that series at home against the Royals. Give me your last pick.
All right, finally, Blue Jays, Yankees, over under 7.5. I think both teams' offense kind of breaks out today. Manoah versus Cortez. I know they're 2 good pitchers, but 7.5 certainly matters. But the Yankees need to get things going. They do today, and they go over the 7.
All right, now I'm going to go over 6.5. Angels, Tigers in Detroit. Otani and Eduardo Rodriguez. Under the first 2 games in the series, I think they're going to go over in Detroit today.
How about the ballot?
Yeah, can you believe it? Can you believe it? 2 things we found interesting from this last week in Major League Baseball. I'll start off this week. All right, so the Cardinals became the first team in big league history to have a player at least 40 years old hit a grand slam and another at least 40 to pitch 7 shutout innings in the same game. Pujols is 42, 2 years older than Adam Wainwright.
How about that? You know what? They're a fun team to watch in that regard. I really think so. And I'm going to stick with Albert Pujols. He hit 2 home runs yesterday, number 691 and 692 in his career. And by doing that, he has the second most total bases in Major League Baseball history now. It's just an amazing accomplishment. And he's closing in on number 4 all time in home runs ever hit as well. 4 behind Alex Rodriguez. So he needs 4 to pass him, right?
4 to tie, 5 to
pass. So there you go. So hopefully he gets that done.
And according to Matt Gelb, real quick, Corey Knebel's season is over. He has a tear in his right shoulder capsule, and he's going to Texas for stem cell treatment to try to avoid surgery.
That's a shame. We're going to miss Corey for sure, both at the clubhouse and out there.
I know the Braves like signing these players to long-term contracts. It's been, a lot of people complaining about the Harris deal. Austin Riley will be 35 when his contract ends in 2032. Matt Olson will be 36 when his contract ends in 2030. Michael Harris II will be 29 when his contract ends in 2030. Bobby Bonilla will be 72 when his contract ends in 2035.
Very good. And real quick, we gave a shout out to Tony Gwynn and Gary Sheffield as the only Padres to have 8+ straight multi-hit years. That's a pretty good list.
Yeah, that's good.
These guys can hit a little bit. Shout out to Gwynn and Sheffield.
All right, so we got today's season finale against the Mets, and then 4 with the Reds, and 3 next weekend with the Pirates to complete this homestand. try to finish the season series off on a high note with the Mets, and then pick up some wins against the bottom feeders.
Yeah, you know what? You didn't win 5 out of 7 against the Reds and the Pirates. 6 out of 7 would be even better. That would certainly, obviously, make it a successful homestand no matter what happens today. But I think today, from a mental standpoint, from a psyche standpoint, for this clubhouse, go out, take care of business, beat up on this young guy making his major league debut, win 2 in a row against the Mets, split the series here, and have some good feelings going forward that maybe you came into the postseason if you were to see the New York Mets in the postseason. That's got to be the thought process today. I think it happens. I think Kyle gets to give you a good start today. If I had to bet, I'm thinking it's something like a 7-3, 7-4 kind of game.
All right, sounds great. And thank you to our friends here at Xfinity Live. We'll be back next Sunday, right from this very spot. So make sure you guys come on back and hang out with us because we're running out of time down here at Xfinity Live this season.
Here we are.
But we're going to have as much fun with it as possible before football season rolls around. And I'd like to thank everybody for stopping on down and checking us out as well. For Greg Murphy, John Jansen back in the studio, and Kyle / the Gobbler Nutamaker, I'm Chris Sack. And like a 3-1 pitch to Ryan Howard, we are out of here, baby. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and let's go Phillies.
Alrighty.
Thank you, Mr. Jansen. Appreciate you, buddy.
Nice job.
Enjoy the divide.
How come the Hanson going into the stand?